Can you just introduce yourself, Matt, and just give us your history with Adec?
Yeah, sure. I'm Matt Turner. I'm the General Manager here at Adec UK, and I've been with Adec for just about 7 years now. Before that, I worked for some other dental companies and have been in the industry for about 28 years now. I think this is my 28th year in the industry.
You've almost lasted as long as Adec in the UK, actually. So Adec has now been going for more than 35 years. How did it all begin?
Yeah, so Adec, as you may be aware, is the Austin dental equipment company, and has been trading now across the US for 60 years now. In the UK, there was an opportunity to grow our business internationally. So the Austin family set up a number of entities around the world, one of them being in the UK, the other being in Australia. So Adec UK have been trading now for 35 years, based in the Midlands for most of that time. But before that, Adec was selling into the UK and Irish market through some of our dealers, in particular in Ireland. It was McCormack at the time who were the importer distributor before Adec had an entity in the UK and Ireland. Okay,
and what kind of reception did Adec receive? I mean, we know Adec stands for quality now, but when it first came to the UK, what reception did it have?
I think the brand has always been very well recognised for quality. So I think it would have been met with the same standards, really. I think Adec has always had this reputation for going above and beyond, and that was the same, when Adec first started in the UK and Irish markets. So I think the brand would have been very well received back then when we first started our business in the UK.
35 years is a long time. So how have things changed for Adec over the last 35 years?
Well, I think our commitment to continuous improvement has really been at the forefront of everything we do. So we've seen some major strides in those areas about how we improve our business, our relationships with our dealers and with our customers, but also some of the innovative products that we've launched over that time. I think back to maybe over the last sort of 15-20 years when Adec launched the Adec 500 chair, which is the biggest selling dental chair in the world. And recently we've had a new iteration of that. So it's almost like that product has gone full circle and has had its update. But also some of the work that we've done within the dental schools as well. We work a lot with the dental schools, not only supplying product to them, but also as part of the curriculum, helping students really get their own posture positions correct, but also positioning the patient correctly and trying to help them have a long and happy working career in dentistry.
Okay, that kind of leads me on to the next question, because you don't just supply chairs, do you? You like you mentioned there, you care about the posture of dentists and their health. So what have been the big innovations that Adec has been involved in or launched over the last 35 years?
Well, I think within dental schools, particularly, is the transition of the student from the simulator, which of course we sort of manufacture, and then onto a dental chair and treating patients. I think from those areas, it's making sure that that's seamless as possible, and the user interface on those training simulators is the same as what's on the dental chairs. That really helps students transition from one to the other. The last thing we want, and something we work hard on, is really making sure that the student is comfortable and not having to worry about what does this button do, what does that button do. So I think one of the areas where we've really focused is making our products just a lot more intuitive and easy to use, and giving dentists confidence that when they buy into the Adec brand, that they're going to be looked after from Adec from a quality point of view, but also from an experience point of view, making sure that we're putting the customer first and making sure that they have a real quality experience when they're dealing with Adec.
So what does Adec stand for today?
Well, our vision is to be the preferred choice. So the preferred choice from our dealers, from making sure that the product is easy to install, easy to maintain and look after, easy to get spare parts, and the preferred choice from that perspective. But then from the customer's point of view, having products that are intuitive, that are good quality, that are high specification, and a brand they can trust in. So when a customer thinks about, or a dealer thinks about dental chairs, they think Adec. I think the other areas, when I've sort of touched on it briefly, is about delivering a superior customer experience. We invest heavily in that experience. We have 3 showrooms in the UK. In Bracknell, covering that sort of southern area, in the Midlands, which is where our head office is, and then of course in Warrington. And that investment is really to help customers make positive choices around the equipment they're going to have for maybe the next 15, 20 years, and not be thinking about, did I make the right decision or did I make the wrong decision? With Adec, you can come in and you can test the products and push the buttons, sit in the equipment, and really make sure that it's the right equipment for the practice, for their patients, and that they're making those right buying decisions.
And that's key, isn't it? Because it is a piece of equipment that dentists will use for 20 plus years potentially. And so they need to feel comfortable with it. They need to understand it. And like you mentioned before, it needs to be intuitive to them.
It's an integral part of the of the treatment room. It's what the customer sees, what the patient sees when they walk in. It's an area that we can get wrong as well. Making sure that the treatment room is efficient, it's ergonomic, and we can help with that kind of stuff, and make sure that the customer is making those decisions based on what's right for them and what's right for their needs. The other thing we do, and a lot of customers really come to us for this in particular, is we challenge a lot of the traditional thought processes and maybe come up with some different ideas for them. And sometimes the customer will go in that direction, and other times not. But we like to get people through really thinking about what they're doing and what's the best practice for them to be organising and maybe redesigning their treatment. We also think about some of the soft areas as well, not just the chair in the centre of the room, but what does that patient journey look like? What's the look and feel of the practice? And we can give some sort of helpful advice and tips on that kind of stuff as well.
Well, that's really good to hear, Matt. That goes beyond just the dental chair. The last year and a half, the last 18 months have been challenging for every business from all backgrounds. How did Adec deal with the COVID outbreak?
Yeah, so for us, as you said, it was challenging. For us, the same as it was most businesses around the building. We actually didn't close throughout COVID. We were open right the way through COVID, on a very, very short skeleton staff. But we wanted to make sure that if there was a customer who was out there working and they had the need for a spare part, that we were able to support them. So we had several of the managers in the business picking spare parts and getting them sent out as and when. And also answering some technical questions as well. Often we'll get some of our dealer partners calling us and wanting some particular advice. So we wanted to make sure we were on hand to be able to give that advice to them. But I suppose more bigger picture for us was what do we need to focus on? And for us, it's about our people. Our attitude is that if we look after our team, we look after our people, then they'll look after our dealers and our customers. So we had a real focus, and do have a real focus on making sure our team are feeling safe, are feeling confident. So some of the things that we did, we were giving weekly Teams updates where people who were out the business were able to dial in and just make sure that things were going okay, and I'd give them a short sort of update on how the business was doing. I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty at that time, of course. So weekly updates felt like almost like that wasn't enough. It was there was a lot of uncertainty at that time. The other focus area for us was just being helpful. I think there was a lot of customers who had questions around, could they be, how do they shut down their dental chair and leave it for 2 months? Is that going to be okay? What are the things I need to be thinking about? So we wanted to make sure that we were on hand and giving lots of information around that. So we published a few papers that we'd shared on social media with customers about how to shut down their treatment room, and then in turn, as those customers came back to work, how to restart it and reopen it back up, and what are the things they need to be looking out for. So a real focus on just being helpful, just trying to be helpful for people. I think we were all feeling, that it was very uncertain times and maybe vulnerable, and we were trying to lead that really by being as helpful as we can. And then the other area of focus for us was just making sure that we were still delivering quality. Again, I think in these uncertain times, things can get missed very easily, but for us, it was just making sure that we've got our systems and processes in place, and making sure that whatever activity we were doing it to the highest quality. And I think those three focus areas have really helped us get through COVID in a fairly positive way. We had all of our team back pretty early on last year, back into the business, and we saw phenomenal growth rates in the second half of last year and this year too. So I think what we did seemed to have worked well for us.
So since you've come back, you've seen phenomenal growth rates, and that speaks volumes to the way you did act during the pandemic. But why do you think there has been such a growth?
Well, I think there's no doubt that the market is buoyant at the moment. I think there's patients out there with some pent-up demand, and probably some increased disposable income from not travelling to the office or not having the annual holiday or so on. I think from our point of view, though, I mean, there's still a lot of competitors. There's still a lot of choice for customers in the UK market, and we've just really focused on what we do best, at delivering the superior customer experience and focusing on quality, and that's helped some customers choose A-dec maybe over some of the other brands. I think it's as well, it's making sure that we've got capabilities in place to be able to deal with this increased demand, and it is something that we think a lot about. It's what does the future look like, and have we got the right capabilities to be able to deliver our growth aspirations going forward?
What does the future hold for Adec?
I think another 35 years. I think great. I think a focus on continuous growth. I think new products coming down the pipeline at some stage over the next few years. I think the market is changing slightly and focusing more on integration and making sure that whatever the clinician wants to use is available in their delivery system. So that's an area of focus for us, to make sure that we have those products available for those customers. And I think just keep doing what we're doing. Focus on quality. Focus on delivering our superior customer experience, and focus on our people. Adec is a brand that's been growing from strength to strength for a number of years, and I don't see that stopping in the near future.
Can you mention any of the innovations?
I don't think I can at this. I don't want to talk about anything new.
Okay.
So coming down the tracks, but there's always new products in the pipeline.
Yeah. And that's everything from me, Matt. Is there anything that you wanted to highlight? Anything that you wanted to mention?
I think just as well, the Adec brand globally has been growing from strength to strength. And I mentioned a little bit about some of the things that we were doing in the UK, trying to be helpful, giving information, and that's been the same around the world as well. And I know in the US. There were some real innovations that came out of COVID, and one of them was a face shield, which we were being asked if we could manufacture. In the US, there was a real demand for face shields. They just couldn't get them quick enough, and it was a local hospital that asked us. And literally in a few days, we had made a design. We'd inputted those details into our machinery, come up with a prototype, and was literally manufacturing within a couple of weeks these face shields. And it was not necessarily a product at that time that we thought we would be selling commercially, but it was more just to try and help a local business, a local hospital, be able to treat patients. One of the other things they've done is they've opened up the campus as a vaccine centre as well in the US. So, I mean, Adec, as you're probably aware, is very much focused on giving and being charitable. So any areas we can see to be charitable, to be helpful, we obviously jump in with both feet. So that's probably the only other thing I have.
Perfect. That's everything for me, Matt. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Yeah, and here's to another 35 years.
Yeah, definitely.